folks. Welcome back to the another session by Azure Developer Community. And today we have with us Itasha Modi, Azure Developer Lead from Bhopal, and also Alpha Microsoft Student Learn Ambassador. And today she is going to tell you about DevOps and what is DevOps and how you can use it with Azure, how you can integrate the DevOps technology with Azure and scale up your organization and all. So I hope you all are very excited for this. Let's start with the session. So over to you.
Thank you, Varun, for such a lovely introduction. Now, without any further ado, let's get just started. So, all before that, if anybody has an idea about what is DevOps, they can shoot and tell me because we will be, of course, moving forward with that. But if our audience has some idea, it would be nice to start with. Hello, Chirag. Hello, Mohsin. So, let's just start. I'm sharing my screen. I think it's visible to everyone. Okay. So in today's session, we will be seeing what is DevOps and how we can use DevOps with Azure. So introduction, like if you are seeing a process and you want to accelerate its speed, if you want to increase efficiency, so what comes into play? That is DevOps. And we will be seeing how DevOps comes into play and what is DevOps in our later slides. You have seen that people do manual checks, manual tests, as well as when people are sometimes what happens, there are stages of when you are creating some product. If you have this company and you X company and you are creating a product, so there are several checks that a product goes through before it get deployed to the customer. They are coding, they check bugs, there are internal testings and so much. So how we can accelerate this process with the help of DevOps, we will be seeing that. Okay. First is what is DevOps. So as DevOps, there are two words. One is dev and other one is ops. Dev is for development and ops for its operation. So DevOps is a combination of development and operations. We can't say that DevOps is a methodology, but DevOps is the union of people, process and technology that we use so that we can accelerate the process of creating our stuff or creating our product to the end user, which is customer. So there are different kind of work process involved. First we create a plan, then there is we develop it, and then we develop it, then we deliver it, and all this operation goes on. So this is the workflow for DevOps: security, compliance, continuous improvement, collaboration. These are all the things which one needs to do to accelerate the process of creating the end product nice and fast for the customer, that is the end user. Now let's see the plan. First is there are different kind of workflow. First we plan things, then we develop, then we deliver, and then we operate. Planning involves we have to see that what kind of efficiency the product has, like how many days working days it takes. So there are two types of things. One is leading time and one is waste time, that is VSM. So VSM is how many days like if you are creating a product, there are internal testings as well. And one time the what the developer will do, developer will code, that comes in the leading time. But the other time, like the testing time and all, that comes in the VSM. So we have to see the efficiency. For that we will be checking the efficiency, and all this comes in the planning. Then the developer will develop the code for the same, for the bugs, and if it has some bugs after testing, it will overwrite it. And after that, the publisher will publish this in, and it will come into effect by latest whenever all the testings are done, and then the operations which comes in the picture. So that's how the workflow of plan, develop, deliver and operate. Yeah. Now I want to explain this analogy with the help of an example. So, I know a lot of people like story narration here. People like to. Okay. Any questions so far? Hey, 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 everyone. Yeah. Hope Priyanshu you will enjoy the session. Don't worry, Mohsin. We will be discussing only beginner things right now in this. The later things like Jenkins, Dockers, it will be delivered in the later sessions. In this session, it's very beginner friendly. So, so far, I think you already are aware about the DevOps terms. Also, if we say that Azure, the DevOps also helps in releasing the code in more efficient, cooperative, and stable manner. We can say that Azure has also developed a DevOps. That's a platform where you can integrate your product. You can see the progress of it. You can also see how the workflow is. So hence, it's kind of productivity. It's a union of people which do this work. Now, if we see that a we have a scenario here, so that you guys understand better, I have started to explain you with the help of a story narration. So imagine you guys, there is a company named as Tailspin Toys. So it's a gaming company and they have launched a space game. Now if you're launching a space game, you have to write it code and you have to use then you have to deploy it, and they use Linux as this their OS. So you have to deploy it to Linux and so many things goes on. Now there are team as well. I'll show in the later slide. um for the team, that is space game company Tailspin, they are launching this game, space game. Now we have a team for the same. So here are your teammates. You can imagine yourself as well. I don't mind. Like this is person one, Andy. This is Amita. This is Tim, and this is Irvin. So the designation and their workflow is also written on the left hand side. So Andy is a development lead who is working with computers since he was a kid. So this guy is a very professional in development, hence he is working in the development field. Here Amita is in Q&A and she organizes things, and according to the priorities she will do the task. And here is Tim. Tim is in operations, so he like practical solutions, and he is also very like paranoid. He wants the work at time. This is Irwin. Irwin is the product manager, so he has been working in the video game industry since decades. He's friendly, but he also needs the time with faster and with lesser efforts. Now, imagine a teammate, name anybody, like I can name Priyanshu. Like, so Priyanshu joins this team and he finds that the structure of the team is very disorganized and they are not actually doing the work in an efficient manner, rather the slow manner. So what he does is he decided to propose them the idea of DevOps and how they can accelerate things with the help of DevOps. So what he does is he comments someone, everyone, comments someone, everyone in the meeting, and then he proposes the idea of having using a value stream map. So what is a value stream map? So value stream map is a kind of map which you create, in which you show that what are the working hours and what are the leading time and what is the waste time which goes in the testing, checking bugs. These are all the waste time which goes. So what he does is he creates a plan for that for the newly company he joined, but he doesn't know the workflow right now, what company does, like many internal things he doesn't know. But he promises that he wants to accelerate this work time. So he goes with the plan of value stream map. So this is the value stream map he created, and he invited his friends, his colleagues Andy, Amita, Tim, and Irwin. So so what he does is, if you see this value stream map, there's this functional speed, and then the source code, what source control, the source control will then goes to like code. You will write the code, and then it will be some person will write into spreadsheet, and then it will go for testing. The internal members will test it, and if it has imagine it has some bugs, then the testers will report that it has bugs, then bug fixing. So sometime bug fixing will take, and then if we see there will be pre-production, and after the pre-production approves it, it will go to the customer. After it's published, it will go to the customer. So these are the steps which are involved in a firm or in a company, which when we are creating a product. So if you see here, as I told, there are two terms, which is one is leading time and other is process time. And process time, also known as VSM, which is the how many hours and time we have wasted in doing all this, which are not productive to the end user. Because writing code is productive to the end user, because we are writing that particular feature for the customer itself. At the end of the day, our goal is to satisfy customer. Our goal is to make customer happy. So that comes into leading time, and process time is all that testing and all goes into, and one person asking for spreadsheet, and this all comes in the process time. So if we want to create find the efficiency, what we do is we divide the process time with the leading time, and we will get it in numbers of less than 0. And if we multiply it with 100, we will get the efficient time, which is the working hour. So more the efficient time, more the better productivity. For increasing the productivity, what we do is we use DevOps. So if you see here, leading time is 22 days, and process time is 5 days. As see, writing, we one person will ask this code, the developer will write the code, then one person first, the clerk will go and ask like if they are okay with if the developers are free to write this code, then developer will give his time. In this process some time will take, and then code, the developer will write the code. In this process some time will take, and then the other colleague will ask for spreadsheet and all. Then in testing, like you see their internal processes. If you are do you think that when we are applying, or when we are creating a new feature in a company, it just get deployed directly to the customer? Well, no, that's not the case. What happens is, if I have created, imagine I have created in Azure, I have created a button, and that button just takes me to other websites and all. That's a new feature I have created, imagine. So I won't be just as a company, we won't be just sharing it direct to the end customer, because it can have bugs, and which can remove the faithfulness between the customer as well as the company. So we do internal testings. There are different role as testers. So what testers do is, testers test this new feature repeatedly, really. And then once they acquire that yes, it doesn't have any bugs and all, then only it goes to pre-production play with this feature and see if it works, and then only it gets deployed. So some work here, testing work goes. So what happens, if we divide 5 by 22, it comes out to be 0.23, and if we multiply it by 100, we get 23 percentage, and which is very less for a company on a productive rate. So for accelerating this, what comes into picture is DevOps. You can monitor things, you can also see that if anything is not working properly, and that too in a systematic manner, because of the platform that we have. Any questions so far? Hello, 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 everyone. Any questions so far with DevOps? If not, then we can move forward. And if you have, then shoot on, because it's supposed to be an interactive session, guys. Okay, I don't think so anybody has any question, or did I miss anything? Ma'am, can you please click on present? Okay. Yeah. So this is what I have explained you. The value stream maps. Now, there are different processes. One is development process that comes in all that the process which we do for developing our software, our new feature, or whatever we are in the process of making. Then testing process, uh, yeah, testing process. Then operation process. All this work and other processes are known as operation process. Then VSM, as I explained you, VSM is a kind of time which we see, which is wastage time, which is not included in the productive time or leading time in all this testing and all. That is VSM. Okay. Now let's see the customer value matrices, which is very very important, guys, because if you see, that's how we see how productive a company is going. Okay. So if you see in the previous case and scenario, Priyanshu was the one who was into all this and who suggested that we should make a map for checking how productive our company is really and why, what are the factors the company is lacking, uh, the productive ratio, and why there is a delay in delivering the product to the end user, which is customer. So, what are the inferences he got that their total time is 22 days and the feature has value to the customer, that is process time. And in the process time, 4 days are for coding and 1 day for the feature, which it gives the total time of 5 days. And for the activity ratio, what is the activity ratio? And then somehow the product the efficiency is found out to be 5 by 22 into 100, and that is 23%. So we can say there is a lot of room for improvement. And seeing that 22 days for a feature to be launched is way too much for companies growth as well as productivity. Yeah. Now the question is why DevOps? So if you see, we have customer, its requirement, testing and dev team, and then operations and business. So you can see customer and requirements are fulfilled even without the DevOps and testing also. But you can see the operation and all this lacks because of lack of DevOps technology implemented. So what we do is we implement the DevOps technology, and with the help of that, you can monitor things. You can see that how much time everything is taking. You can integrate things. You can use different kind of things like Kubernetes, Docker, and Jenkins. So with the help of that, you can accelerate your process. So that's why we use DevOps. Yeah. Now let's just see the other one. Yeah. Now let us see the delivery challenge that we face while we are in the process of not using a like a DevOps mechanism. So if we use a DevOps mechanism, we we don't have much management issue. We have better understanding of risk, dependencies, and compliance issues. And in the deployment configuration also, we have best tracking issues, faster escalation, and granular reporting, of course. And we can automate our deployment, which can be solved with the help of DevOps. Yes, any questions so far? Can you please Okay, so that was about how we have seen the DevOps. Now, if we see, there are certain things like in DevOps too, there are other features as well. First, you have to create an organization, and with the help of organization only, you can see a lot of things like you can monitor your stuff. You can also see where the issues are lacking, where we have not configured our stuff product easily. So these are all comes into picture with the help of DevOps. Now, if we see the deployment process, suppose we have one person and who can create labels, and that's as the example told, that was Andy. So we request a label by email, and then we use the CVC control system, that is centralized version control system. So Andy wants all the existing code to be checked in and stable before he creates the label. So after the label is created, we get an email to begin the work, and it takes up to so many days. This can be processed. These are the room of improvements that we can do in the scenario we just now created with our teammates. The other thing where we can improve is testing process. So after we decide that we have stable build and we update the spreadsheet, we are ready for the testing, and it also takes some 2-3 days for testing. And after that, the tester has to notify as well if he or she or they if they find any bug. So this also takes some time. Then comes operation process. After the manager approves, yes, it doesn't have any, developer approves that it doesn't have any bugs, so it needs to be deployed. And deploy is done by the pre-production servers for more testing. Most of the times, if we see that pre-production servers are out of sync with the latest patches, updates, new technologies that are needed for the website. So what we do is, it also takes some more time for the pre-production to run the tests again while deploying, and it doesn't add really some value to the customer end product. So it also comes in the VSM time. After the build is ready for production, the leader needs to approve it before it can be deployed. So this also happens in a meeting and all, and it also takes some time. Eventually, after all this is done, the feature is sent to the customer, and if the production server configuration has drifted, then first we need to update it, and then also it takes 1 day. So the customer value matrix is also known as CVM, comes out to be point 2, point 3, which is very less as compared to the other companies. So from there, we go to different DevOps. Here we understand that using DevOps will help us not only with adopting Azure and other practices, but also it can revisit the numbers, and it can also update the VSM at some point. Now, I have a question for you all. Let's see who will answer it. Are you guys ready? Let's have a question, quick question, and see who can answer it. So, I want to ask you, so far we have talked so much about VSM, that is value stream map. What, according to you, is the purpose of a VSM? Yes, Priyanshu, answer it. Aman Seni, Khush Gupta. Let's see who answers. What, according to you, is the purpose of a value stream map? Is it that it helps in existing processes or in the model, or is it that it helps to gain official DevOps accreditation, or is it that it just extra paperwork? What do you think is the work of VSM? Yes, Harshit, answer. To view the entirely of a process flow from start to finish and create a plan to. Yes, that's correct, Harshit. Exactly. We want to optimize our plans so that we don't waste our time in the non-leading time process. Exactly, exactly. Increasing efficiency of a value stream. Yes, Priyanshu. One more answered, Khush Gupta. VSM as a fundamental tool to identify waste, reduce process cycle time. Exactly. I'm very happy that you guys are listening very efficiently. Yeah. So now let's see further. Now at this point, we haven't really explained what DevOps is in definition kind of terms. So, DevOps, if we see, is a suite of services. First of all, some people say that the DevOps is a methodology, which I completely deny, because it's not a methodology, not neither a software nor a hardware, but it's a suite of services that spans the entire DevOps life cycle. It starts with planning and goes through the way through deployment, monitoring, and at some places it also serves gives you services which you can use to monitor your services, to optimize your product, to integrate it. So that's basically DevOps. Yes, moving on, we have practices. So these are the kind of practices which one need to do in DevOps to optimize your end product better. One is agile planning, then is continuous integration, also known as CI, and continuous delivery, also known as CD, and monitoring. Of course, we have been talking about monitoring for so long now. Have seen like so many at so many services, they say CI CD. That's actually continuous integration and continuous delivery. So agile planning involved that we have to see all the backlogs, and then we have to prioritize that which needs more attention first. Do we need to first fix the bugs, or do we need to add new feature? Of course we do need to fix bugs first, so that comes in the agile planning, because there's no point of increasing a new feature or adding a new feature to your existing project when that existing project itself has bugs. So that's agile planning, to see what we need to prioritize first. Then we have continuous integration. So if you are automating and building and testing your code, you run it every time, and a team member commit changes to it with the help of version control. That is continuous integration. Continuously you are trying to increase rerun it, test your code so that its efficiency increases. Then we have continuous delivery. That is how we test and configure, and then after testing and configuring, how you are building it to the production environment continuously, again because the term is continuous. That is very important and required when you are doing DevOps. So continuous delivery is required, continuous integration is required, monitoring of course you can use monitoring. Of course you need to monitor where your end product is, performance is, what are the usage pattern, and with the help of that you can modify your product, you can modify your feature with the help of this DevOps, and see how the customer is liking it, and according to that you can make changes to that. That is monitoring. Then if we say about Azure DevOps, So far we have discussed about DevOps so much. Now we need to see what is exactly Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps is a collection of several tools which you can use for collaborating. It has automated build processes, testing, version control, packages, and there's so much more which you can create projects there, organizations there. You can also use a version control. You can also create projects there inside your organization. You can also change your organization to private, public, according to your preferences. So that all comes into Azure DevOps. So now let's see what our team has to say about it. So I will be sharing you a link so that you can see Azure DevOps. Meanwhile, I am also trying to take you through how you can also create your very own service in Azure. So I would recommend that you guys just click this and do it alongside. Sarthak, you can use Jenkins. There are so many tools available for CI/CD. You can use Jenkins, Bamboo, GitLab, CodeShip, anything you can use, whichever interests you. Now I hope that everybody has clicked on this link. So we will be moving further how you can create your own organization in the Azure DevOps. Do tell me in the comment section if you have. No, actually, DevOps is not a methodology. That's one big concern. A lot of people confuse it with methodology. No, DevOps is not a methodology. DevOps is a process, it's a suite of people, organizations, uh, people which work towards it. So there are different monitoring comes into play. So you can't say it's a methodology. Okay, you have clicked on this thing. Now what you have to do is, if you go to I'll share my screen. Yes, Jenkins can be integrated. So give me a sec, I'll just share my screen. Just a sec, guys. Meanwhile, you can just explore the features we have in Azure DevOps. Yes. So I will be sharing my screen. Okay. So can you see? Okay. Okay. So can you see my screen? I think you can. So if you go here, so here is the this is the platform we have in Azure for DevOps. So what you can do to create your very own you for creating your very own organization, you click for this start free, and there are other things as well you can explore, like pricing, partner resources. You can see here. You can also get trained here. You can see read blogs and other things for your help. So what you do is you go to start free, then wait for it. Since I have already created a Azure DevOps organization, it shows here. You can also start with a new one as well. I have my student ambassador ID already logged in, and I have already created a organization for the same. So it didn't ask me to create again. But if you are going for creating a DevOps organization, it will prompt you. So you need to fill credentials um, start free button, then you have to sign into your Microsoft account. If you don't have, then you have to create one, and then you have to further just complete the steps to create your very own organization. Okay, I think this was helpful. Now let me just stop sharing my screen and let's go back. Tell me if you have once you have created your organization. Okay, so I think Norez Aman has created, and Rashid Salim has also created his organization. Do tell me once you have created your organization. Okay, now let me see the questions. There are so many questions also. Project name, yes, it can be given anything. If you want to go for creating your project in further steps, you can give any name to your project. I think I missed questions. Let me see. Can you tell about CI CD? Okay. So first of all, CI CD is continuous integration, continuous. Uh, so for CI CD, continuous deployment. So Azure pipelines are continuous delivery. So Azure pipeline combines continuous integration, that is CI, and continuous delivery, that is CD, to for testing and building your code, which can be shipped to any target. So CI, which is continuous integration, is the practice that development teams use for automating, merging, and testing code. CI helps in catching bugs and in the early development cycle. It is also very less expensive to fix. This is one reason we use DevOps. And if you see automatic test, CI also has, it ensures quality. The CI system are also, it releases process, and it doesn't need drive frequent deployments also. So that's about CI. And if we talk about continuous delivery, that is CD, this is also a process in which code is built, tested, and deployed to one or more tests. And deploying and testing is a multiple environment process which increases the environment quality. It also produces artifacts. If you see, there are different infrastructure and apps which can be helped by CD. So that's about CI and CD. Any other question? How certificate given me? For that, you have to attend our bootcamp as well as sessions for you to get a certificate, Rashid. Created. So amazing that you guys have created. So that's how you have created your very own organization. Now let's get back to our presentation. Give me a sec, guys. Give me a sec, guys. Let me open my slide. After creating a project, what's next step? So for all this, after creating project, there will be, you must be prompted to select either public or private. So after that, you can just good to go. You can explore it, you can monitor it after you added any project. Okay. And private option is disabled. So private option, no, it must be because right now you are having a free account and it's not paid account. Like for us ambassadors, we get a paid account, so we don't have it disabled. Okay, now coming back to slides. Yes, so yeah, so we have seen that how we have used the VCM. We have seen why we need DevOps. We have seen what are the delivery challenges that we face if we don't use DevOps. We have seen the practices, agile planning, continuous integration, continuous delivery, and monitoring. We have also seen what is Azure DevOps. So that's the several tools that we need for team collaboration, which helps in automating building process, testing, version control. We have seen this. Now let us see what are the services that we have in Azure DevOps. So there is a list of services. I have listed down some of the main of the services, which is Azure Board, Azure Pipelines. Somebody asked, I think, CI/CD pipeline. So here it comes pipelines. Azure Boards, Azure Pipelines, Azure Test Plans, Azure Repos, Azure Artifacts. So if we talk about Azure Boards, so these are the tools which helps us planning, tracking, and discussing work. So here you can see all the work which can be done in the meeting can be done in Azure board. So here we have, if we talk about the scenario that we firstly created a storyline of the SpaceX game. So the time can be saved here in the Azure board. One is done. Then Azure pipelines. So they help in building, testing, and deploying with the help of CI/CD. Of course, it can be worked with any language and with the any language platform and cloud. So all the VCM time which we wasted, now our efficiency can be improved here if we use Azure pipelines. So that's how the deployment process is facilitated and the time is being saved. The end time for the main time efficiency is increased, and the time which the from the production end and the customer end is decreased. More faithfulness in the company, and faster rate of deployment of a new feature that is helped by Azure pipelines. Two things. Second thing, two things we have done here. We have improvised our action plan for the new feature. Now the third comes Azure test plans. So they are testing tools. If you see, after we are done with after we are done with our end of testing, testers are done with production also tests the feature before directly deploying it to the customer. So it can be taken care of by Azure test plans. Here also we have saved our time. Then then we have Azure repos. Okay. So if you talk about repos, you must have heard this term repos. Repos are kind of folders in which you put your data. Like in GitHub also you have repositories. Repos are actually a short form for repositories. So in GitHub also you have repositories. So that is also, here we have Azure repos. So these provide us unlimited cloud hosting platform, and they are public GitHub repos. Public GitHub repo. Why this word public? Because it can be accessible by anybody. If you put your GitHub repo public private, then only you can access your GitHub repo. But if you put private, then anybody who comes to your profile can see your GitHub repository. Then we have Azure artifacts. So they helps us in creating, hosting, and sharing packages. So these are some of the very important services that we have in Azure DevOps platform, and that's how we have increased our efficiency by saving our time in deploying, retesting again and again with the help of pipelines, Azure test plans, and with the help of Azure boards. We have a single platform where we can discuss meetings, workflow, and agile tools. So that's how we have saved our time, and we have decreased the VCM and increased the leading time. Now let's see how using Azure DevOps can be helpful in your company being a elite performing team. Firstly, of course, it helps in deploying more. It deploys more frequently. The one who, first of all, let's just define what is a elite performing team. So a team is called an elite performing team if it deploys more frequently. More frequently means less chances of errors, less chances of bugs, and more easily they can be caught, and more easily the feature can be deployed in less time. Number one. Then we have reduced leading time. So if and from commit to deploy. So if leading time, as I told, the productive time. So if you do it frequently, you will catch the errors faster, and which further infers that you will reduce the time which are wasted. And also then we have reduced change failure rate, of course, because the more you deploy your more frequently you deploy your feature for testing and all, more easily the things can be come into play, more easily it can be handled. So of course it will have a very less failure rate, then incidents can be discovered more quickly, of course. So that's what a elite performing team is. So how now DevOps can help you in your company becoming an elite performing team? First of all, it will help you, since with the help of, as I told, pipelines. So you will deploy and build your build test. So this tool, Azure Pipelines, will help you in deploying more frequently, reducing leading time from commit to deploy. So this can be done with the help of repos. You can use it, and testing plans, more testing, it can be done manually as well. Then reduce change failures, of course, that's the infer of the 1 and 2. And recover from incident more quickly, that also is the infer of 1, 2 and 3. Any questions? Which region do we have to choose in while hosting your project? You can choose any region, but I would recommend that you choose a region which is nearby you. You can choose South India. Yeah. Okay. Any doubts, guys? Let me see if any questions. There is one question. Can we integrate GitHub with Azure? Well, the answer for that is yes. You can use GitHub for software development, and you can also use that for planning and tracking your work. So you can do that. Just a sec, guys. It's like my laptop was some having some issue, so to see that. Yeah. Yes, you can say that you need to test it and deploy it. That comes into pipelining, CI/CD. Okay. Now let's get back to our presentation. Now we have done this. Now the last slide I had was to show you that which how you can just um yeah. So this was just the last slide, which was to tell you how you can create your very own organization. Has you have already done that, created your free account. You went to this devazure.com. You have started the free button, and you have used your Microsoft account. If not, you have created one. Then you have completed the steps. So that was the basic session of Azure. I think it helped you. Now there are different kind of things you can do it in DevOps. You can learn about how to deliver in DevOps, how you can operate in DevOps, how you can some how you can do planning in DevOps, which comes into intermediate level of learning DevOps. If we see about the traditional management system, which is not agile at all, it lacks the stability, it lacks how the end product, how we can decrease the VCM. So just the summary I'm giving, so that's why we use DevOps. And if we talk about continuous integration, it integrates the code changes by each developer, so that the main branch, like if I'm in GitHub also, if you see now, suppose I have a GitHub repository and I have put a code and I wanted to change something, so I will commit it. Then other person found some other feature and he will commit it, he or she will commit it. Then what happens is you do it on your local computer and you haven't staged it yet. So when you stage it and then you commit it in the main file, the master file, that's what happens. Similarly here in the continuous integration also, it integrates the code whenever each developer changes uh, any code line or anything, so that the main branch remains up to date. And if we talk about continuous delivery, what it does is take each continuous integration build and run it through the deployment procedures on productions for further work. You can also use cloud platforms like LaaS and PaaS uh, for this. I think that's the summary I have. Thank you. You can ask me your doubts if you have. Yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you Priyanshu, Harshit, Sakshi, Khushgupta. Thank you. How to be a student ambassador? Okay, this is very off topic, but I can tell you since it's Microsoft's. So for that, the application right now are open for Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. You can apply for the same, and there are some certain questions which you need to fill. Which shows how eager you are. You have to tell how eager you are and how you can change the world, how you can be a power for change. So right now the applications are open. You can go to their portal for a student ambassador and do the thing. Did I miss any question? How to be a student ambassador? And no, there is no any eligibility. You just have to be 16 plus, and you can be a student. I think 16 or 18. Yeah, something. Yeah. So there is 16 or 18. I think so. You have to check that. But I think you all are above 16, so you can apply for that. Uh, yeah, applications are quarterly seen. Thank you, Sakshi. You're not audible. Varun,
I'm
your mic.
sorry. I was saying thank you everyone for coming here and joining the session. I hope it would be an informative session for you all. And once again, thank you very much for coming here and spending time. And I hope you must have learned something. See you in the another session. Bye.